unbeaten, but does not automatically mean that they're Arsenal's biggest ever team. What if I told you that you might be confusing iconic with greatness? Tonight, we are going to debunk one of the biggest myths in Arsenal history. Welcome back to All About Arsenal. And tonight, we are going to basically spend some time to talk about one of the greatest teams to ever play in the club's history. The Invincibles are sacred in Arsenal's culture, and if you say anything critical about them, you'll be branded as disrespectful. You'll be branded as someone that does not understand what Arsenal is all about. But football analysis is not about emotion. It's about context. It's about standards, and it's about evolution as well. So with me, we have Tinuluke. How you doing, brother?
Hi, Nick, man. Good to be back.
Good to have you on the channel once again. Tonight, we're going to spend some time to talk about what we know and what we love. This is a team that made history 22 years ago. Yeah, you heard that right, 22 years ago. That's quite a long time. So I'll ask you this first question. When you say a team is the greatest, what comes to mind?
Man, okay, so 22 years Invincible. It's almost like we paid the price for that team. We subsequent, like the proverbial, you sold your soul to the devil.
Yeah.
And what it didn't cost, it has cost us 22 years of no title, Premier League title for one of the greatest teams in the English game. So to answer your question, when you say the greatest, ask what greatest means to me. It's pretty much in the history of the sports or a job or the game or whatever it is that you are trying to assess, a team that stands top above every other team. Pretty much a team that has records that either hasn't been achieved by anyone else or has lasted for so many years before anybody else has ever come close to achieving it. So in the case of the Invincibles, that means going 49 games without tasting defeat. Games that span across 2 seasons. It has never happened again since then in the Premier League. And it's pretty much, we've seen some very good teams, even Jose Mourinho's Chelsea team considered 15 goals, another undeniable record. They didn't go the whole season unbeaten. So it's going to be a tough record to break. That's why in the echelons of one of the most greatest teams in the game.
I agree with you. Now let's talk about that defensive record. But Jose Mourinho's Chelsea considered 6 goals in Stamford Bridge and 9 goals away. You know, looking at our campaign this season, we've already lost that record because we have considered 18 goals already. But what would you say has been the level of clean sheets Arsenal have been keeping back in the day and in current times?
So, this current Arsenal team is very pretty strong defensive unit. Like I tell people, every team has an identity. If I ask you what is Manchester United's team of 99, like that Fergie 99, 2000, that team, you would say late comebacks, fast attacking, 4-4-2 wide football. You understand? Attack till the end. If I ask you the identity of the Invincibles, you will say never die, attack, free scoring team. You score 4, they score 5. They were good defense. Every champion is a strong defensive team, but the identity of the team, what you remember about the team, Jose Mourinho's Chelsea team is how efficient they were. Defensively and in offense, they were very efficient. I don't think they had a fantastic goals for. I mean, it was okay, but they had a very efficient team. I think the top scorer then didn't score up to 30 goals.
Yeah.
Rather the top striker. So this Arsenal team, the identity of this team is solid defending, duel winning, and elite in set pieces. We are not a team that is known for that has a lot of stars in attack.
Mhm.
It's a functional team that they get goals, but it is more in years to come. This team will be remembered by how defensively solid they were and um, how functional the team is, how you can mix and match different types of players to build a seasoned team. So to answer your question again, the to compare the level of clean sheets you get now like I told you earlier, I don't like doing era comparisons directly,
Yeah.
but I can also do it in such a way that I can say right now the teams have all leveled up. There's more
True.
information. There's more information for the teams. The teams have better sports science.
Mhm.
The data tactics has been democratized. Everybody knows there's no secret anymore in
Yeah.
football. Okay, now down to scouting. I mean, when you pull up a game like even as simple as Football Manager, you are finding detailed scouting data on it.
Yeah.
It's a game, and it's not just it's real life Opta verified data they have. So
True.
you can now imagine what clubs have spent on that aspect of the game. So it has made teams now have better, generally more athletic. So defending as a team now is pretty much way it has a lot. You are defending set pieces, you are thinking of transitions, in
Yeah.
position, out position, pressing systems, gang.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of to think about. Back then, it was still the same thing, but that they also worked with the information available to them.
At that
Okay,
point.
so and it's not like these things are new things. It's just that it hasn't been. It's now freely available to the fans to discuss. Back
Yeah.
then, it was more of knowledge was held in at the
Within
highest
clubs.
levels.
Yeah.
You understand? Knowledge was belonged to the big teams. They are the
Mhm.
ones that had the money to afford to know that there's a little boy in Brazil that is playing, at a very good level and that they are scouting him secretly. But now
True.
there's no secret. There are no secret players anywhere. Once a 12, I mean, I was reading something the other day and I heard that Dowman that Arsenal started following him at the age of 4. I mean,
Mhm.
how do you profile a 4-year-old? So, so that tells you that there's so much that goes into football now that it's just the two different worlds apart. So I think the Chelsea record, okay, that 15 goals considered is something that I don't see any way it's going to be the way football is played
Yeah.
currently. I don't see how it's going to be
Yeah, especially with the level of
like the
attacking
record set.
talent. I agree with you. Now, I have a couple of folks in the chat. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Misunderstood Ninja, I love the name. He said the Invincibles had Thierry Henry, the greatest Arsenal striker ever, and Vieira, the first box-to-box CDM who could score. So let's go to the slides now, Tino. And the first one says, why the Invincibles became untouchable? Obviously, we know why. They played 38 Premier League games, they won 26 games, they drew 12, and they did not, suffer any defeats. And that record went into the next campaign that was eventually broken by Man United. But the first question I want to ask you is that in this era when we had this unbeaten, how were our rivals in comparison to us? Because if you remember, Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger were the ones that were basically dominating the league. But in that campaign, obviously, we won it when Manchester United came second. But there was also the advent of Chelsea coming on with, and remember, Abramovich who was bringing on the petrol drains. And further down the line, he now basically took over. So the question is, when we were becoming this untouchable, in quotes, what was the way our rivals were performing? How were our rivals performing in that period?
Okay, so the Invincibles team was when Chelsea was just getting their acts together. Okay, they had
Mhm.
just been bought. Ranieri was recruiting and all that. So back then the league was pretty much Manchester United and Arsenal. There was the Liverpools and Tottenham. They come and go. Chelsea was there, but the talent gap between the top two and the rest was significant, and
Yeah.
even more in the lower. So, for instance, you go to Brentford away, and you know you are getting a very difficult game today. In
Mm-hmm.
2004, you are smashing them 5-0
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
5-2, and there
Mm-hmm.
won't be a conversation. Plus, that he mentioned, the guy on the chat mentioned something that's also very significant. We had Thierry Henry, who was a player that is, if I'm to think of the players that started breaking, like they're the cross between the last generation of players and the current physical monsters. Thierry Henry is like a player that could have played in the modern game because
Yeah.
it
He
was
has tried.
it
Yes.
was way faster, quicker than everybody around him. Like when you watch Thierry Henry on the pitch, you could tell he was the best player on the pitch. It wasn't
Yeah.
close. It wasn't close. It was miles better than most
Ahead.
of the players he was playing. So that having him was like playing with a genie in your team. It was unstoppable. So I remember games where he would just single-handedly take on the entire team, set up an assist. He felt like he could score when he felt he needed it, whenever he wanted to score. So
Yeah.
that is having Thierry Henry and having that gap between the outside the top two enabled this kind of record. It was still a difficult record to come up with because obviously you're dealing with the mindset and the mentality, always trying to come back, even when they had won it. I believe that when that team won the league, the time between when they had confirmed the league and the end of the season, when they played about 4 or 5 games, I can't remember,
Yeah.
that they had to retain the record. I believe those were the hardest games for them to play because it wasn't like there was no motivation really. You've won the league, okay?
Yeah.
You are now just chasing the record, and you're not playing teams that need those points. You're playing teams
True.
that are battling relegation. You're playing teams that are trying to qualify for Europe. So having the mentality to know that there's a record to be made here and putting in the physical work and the standard that the level that is demanded to win a Premier League game, I give it to them. What I feel is that if it was today, it will be very hard for them to have won those remaining games because the quality of the teams is much closer to
Yeah.
your level. You
Mm-hmm.
understand the
Mm-hmm.
gap between
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal today and Everton today is not as wide as it was in 2004 when the gap between Arsenal and Everton was pretty. It was a crater, and you could tell
Yeah.
when they play, even when they get results, you could tell that this team was completely dominant, and that the other guys just managed to get a result, make a result.
Okay. Great. Great. I agree because if you look at the last 9 games Arsenal had in that campaign, we actually drew 5. So that was very clear that all they were just trying to aim for at that point was just to ensure that they kept that unbeaten record intact,
Exactly,
which was really
exactly.
good. Now looking at the gulf of quality between the teams, you could see that when Arsenal played against the likes of Leeds, Everton, Middlesbrough, like you see 4-0, you'll be smashing them and whatnot, and I was like wondering why why teams could not improve at that level. Was it a case of not just having the level of money that teams currently have right now? So can you ask yourself what are the key difference between the level of how teams were investing in their respective players and how things are now?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Is the money? Billions of pounds has flowed into the Premier League over the years, and the thing that happened, what they got right, is that they managed to find a way to share this TV money across the clubs. So at the point being in the Prem, just qualifying like this, what they call it, the richest game in football, the playoff
The
final
playoffs, yeah?
to qualify to the Premier League. So over time, over a period of 10 years, this gain started compounding. The small teams were able to start affording top talent. Then it also coincided with the depreciation of the continental game. A lot of the leagues said couldn't compete financially, economically. So it was
Mm-hmm.
easier for mid-table clubs in England to go and take not just top level players from Spain and Italy, but also coaches, managers. So you start seeing top level managers come to England, top level, a lot of money flowing into England, players, scouts, physical, trade conditioning coaches. I mean, we are seeing set piece coaches, just all the best things in the game that money could buy came to the Premier League, and that way the smaller teams started leveling up to the beast we have today. That small teams in Premier League or previously meetable teams can go to Europe and dominate top teams on the continent. So that's what happened.
Okay, so we have a debutant on the channel, Diego.
Hey guys,
Welcome
how you
from
doing?
the
Hey, Diego.
Global Bonus Podcast. Good to have you, brother. How you doing, man?
Nah, it's all right. Thanks for having me, man. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Tino. How y'all doing?
We're cool, man. We're
Very
cool. We're
well,
cool.
thank you.
Awesome. So we're just talking about that era when Arsenal were unbeaten. The Chelsea team was just bought over by Roman Abramovich. He got in Ranieri as the manager. He got in Jeremy Njita, Wembridge, Damien Duff, Joko, Veron, Mutu, Crespo. Like there were this influx, right, of so many stars into Chelsea. Why didn't they translate those quality of players into getting a victory in the league or winning the league? In your own opinion, Diego.
So wait, if I understand your question, you're comparing the Abramovich era versus
Yeah. Because the season we went unbeaten was the season that Abramovich actually bought Chelsea, and in that same season, he actually spent like I don't know the right amount to call, but he bought so many stars that were very good in their respective clubs, right?
Yeah.
However, when they joined the Premier League, Arsenal still won it with 90 points. Why do you think Chelsea didn't have it enough to win the league that campaign?
Well, I would say, but they won it the next year anyway. So
Yeah,
I mean,
they had to sack the coach and
they
get a
won
new
it
one,
in 2004, and again, I'm not sidetracking, but I just wanted to put it out there. One of the reasons I thought they won that league the next year was because Gilberto Silva was injured almost the entire season at that time. So our midfield wasn't as there was that partnership of Vieira and Gilberto Silva was what I'm saying. So it was helpful. Before we went on Invincible the year before, we won all our home games. We didn't lose any home game, and then went ahead the next year to win all. Well, not lose it. Yeah. So as to why they didn't win, not everybody's an onslaught, so not everybody will come in and start playing in the first season. Sometimes it takes time. Again, Premier League is tough. It's so hard to win just a game. So if you're winning 5 games in a stretch, it's a blessing. So
this guy got his hair right.
If Arsenal hasn't done that in about 64 days, if Arsenal hasn't won 5, when last did Arsenal win 5 straight games? Like I can't even remember. So it's tough, man. It's crazy. That boy should wait till God knows. I don't know how. I don't know that.
It's gonna be a long wait.
He's delusional.
It's gonna be a long wait for the United squad.
Win 5 straight games in the Premier League, bro. Did you see what? I'm not trying to digress, but Atletico Madrid yesterday, God, 4-0. Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, that was dope. Yeah, I was so happy for Lukman though to see what he's doing there. Awesome. Yeah. So now let's talk about the meet itself. The idea was that we were unbeaten in the Premier League, but the honest truth was that we drew 12 games in that season. There was a 1-1 draw with Portsmouth, 0-0 with Man United, 1-1 with Charlton, 1-1 with Leicester, 1-1 with Bolton, 1-1 with Everton, 1-1 with Man U again, 0-0 with Newcastle, 2-2 with Spurs, 0-0 with Birmingham City, 1-1 with Portsmouth. Yep. So when you look at that record and see the kind of things we drew against, would you say we should have done better in those games? Tino, before I get Diego's thoughts on it.
Yeah, for me, I think the key thing is I'd like to know the games how many of those draws came after the club had already won the league. Because
like 5 of the draws came after we had confirmed that we had won the league.
Yeah.
So we still have 7 more, and we're against teams like Charlton, Leicester. There's some games that we even had to salvage a draw from almost the jaws of defeat in that same campaign. So the question is, besides the team being that strong, when some of those draws questionable?
So pretty much to win a title is a difficult thing. It's very hard, and some of those draws you could have said should have been losses, basically, like a regular in a season. The champion usually loses maybe like three matches, 4 matches. The guys that win the league, and maybe 5 draws. I'm just extrapolating from the last couple of seasons. 4 draws, 3 losses, 4 losses. So you can call all that, if you get all that as draws, that's what the Invincible team did. They just didn't lose. Some games you are meant to give up points here and there, they didn't lose. And you see the pressure, these days, because of access to information and social media, we live each kick of the ball. It's almost like each time the team drops points, it's a referendum on the team. People are so passionate. I say, guys, listen, it happens. Just don't drop points that you should on paper you shouldn't drop. Okay? Yeah. If the Invisible team, like I told you, that the standards there, they knew they could get away with going to Chelsea and drawing because they are sure that they can hammer than any other person. But currently, there are some when you start dropping points and it becomes a cluster. Maybe I understand winning 4 games, you just drop 1 point, you win 5 games. But when you start having these clusters of D, L, you can't survive it in the current terrain of the Premier League because the teams you are competing with are relentless. Manchester City, we are calling them they are not good again. But see what they did. January, they got Semenyo, they beefed up their defense, and they're a serious team. They are there. They're going to be there challenging. So you can't afford to slip up. I'm not talking about the Brentford draw. The draw that pissed me off was the Nottingham one.
Nottingham Forest, yeah.
Brentford always had as a draw, but Nottingham was not the points were there to be taken. Awesome. So, but Manchester City dropped 2 goals against the worst sports team in history. They considered 2 goals after being 2 goals up. So that tells you that it's not easy. It's not hard. I didn't hear anybody doing a referendum on their title challenge aspirations then. Maybe they've already done. They have a reputation of going on runs. But what I'm trying to say in essence is that those draws the unbeaten team had for me is just that they didn't lose games. So some of the matches they should have lost, they ended up turning it into a draw. Okay, and I don't want to think too much about the ones that came after the league had been won because by then it's harder to motivate yourself to play.
I agree. So Diego, bringing it back to our present day, you could see that in recent campaigns, Man City has won the league with 100 points, 98 points, 95 points, and in those seasons they had as little as 4 draws, some 5 draws. Because in the campaign they had just 3 draws. Now, would you say that team was better than what Arsenal did in this campaign, despite Arsenal being unbeaten? And why would you feel so?
Oh, Man City has not won the league with 100 points.
No, they have actually.
100 points.
Yes. 17-18.
With Liverpool, was that 100 points?
No, Man U came second with 81 points. Solskjaer. Mourinho actually.
100 points.
Yeah, 100 points. That was the final one that Gabriel Jesus actually chipped the goalkeeper to make it 100 points.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let me know if okay. I didn't know that. That's new information. So again, the City of 2017 you were asking, and what we have now, is that the question?
No. So Arsenal won the league with 90 points and had 26 wins and 12 draws. Now you now have a Man City team many years down the line that won the league with 100 points, with 32 wins and just 4 draws and 2 defeats. So would you say that Man City team was better or greater than the Arsenal team that went unbeaten, or would you say they are not? And what are your reasons for that?
Yeah, again, with this point thing, I don't think the unbeaten team had 90 points. I thought no, because we won we were last 2 seasons we were 89 points, right? It was 89 points and
so the record stretched from 2022-23, right? To the main season of 23-24 that went unbeaten and became invincible, to 24-25 when we now lost to Man U.
Oh, in
Yeah, but the
accumulation.
season
So
itself,
it's the 49 game unbeaten you're referring.
yes.
Oh, okay,
But the
okay,
season itself, we had just 90 points. So my question
okay.
to you was, if you now compare a Man City team in recent
Yeah.
times that is smashing records with goals and whatnot, can you say that they are greater than what we did back then?
No, I wouldn't say greater than what we did back then, but player for player. Because even before this conversation, before this slated meeting, I sort of was racking my brain, in terms of the squad we had in 2000 to 2004, and I'm trying to just correlate that with what we have today, and a handful of players, for me in this current Arsenal squad, I thought would walk into the invisible team. But again, the question was between City and us. And to answer the question, I think City had better. Oh my God, they had scary players, man. They had scary, bro. We're talking about Yaya Toure, man, in the midfield. We're talking about Grail. We're talking about, we're talking about,
KDB.
bro. We're talking about Joe Hart. Hart was like, bruh, like we're talking about Robinho. They had really, really amazing players, So I thought what they did then, even though they lost a game or two, you can't compare. I think conversations about unbeaten versus the treble and going on winning the Premier League for those are the conversations that we can be, But in terms of individual prowess and quality, I would say because I watched more of the game from that time, that era. It excited me what City did, if I'm being totally honest. The ideas or the reminiscence or the nostalgic memories of 2000 to 2004 was just, we're a bit younger at that time. Some of us didn't
Yeah.
really know, you know, much about the
Yeah.
technicalities of football. Some of us were, in late 80s, so we were a bit in our teenage years. But now, from 2010, then
Of course.
our psyche
Football
was,
knowledge has really improved.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I
So
get that. I get that.
it's a bit difficult, but I would tilt to what I was much more familiar with, enjoying the game, scoring goals for fun. You knew that on the day that City was going to, in fact, you can predict how many games they will win in a season and how many they would, and if you're lucky, they will lose, two or three in a season. So, again, for me, it was more exciting in this era of football with Man City and what they've been doing in the last couple of years.
Awesome. Okay, Ade, welcome, bro. Good to have you. I think we'll just start with you on this slide. Apparently, Diego was actually in the spirit. We're going to talk about squad depth then versus now. In 2003, this was basically our first 11 every game. We had against Lehman in goal, Lauren Etameneya as the right back, Ashley Cole as the left back, so Campbell and Kodo Toure in the middle, Gilberto Silva and Vieira as the two central midfielders, Robert Perez on the left, Freddie Ljungberg on the right, and of course Dennis Becker with Thierry Henry. Now, beyond that starting XI that was so good, our second string squad were the likes of Graham Stack, a young Gael Clichy. We had Pascal Sigan, who was so. I remember how terrible Sigan used to be back in the day.
Why are you
He had a
taking me
very
down this
old,
memory lane?
yeah, we had a very old Martin Keown. We had a young Justin Hoyt coming up, and of course, it was only Edu that was actually the guy that come from the bench that played more. The rest of the guys, if you look at their stats, they basically played all the old games unless they got injured.
Then you had
Now, when
Kano on
you
the bench.
compare that to what
And Paulo left us
Arteta
then.
has cooked,
No,
what's your opinion?
I think Ray Paulo was still with us then.
Yeah, Paulo was there
Yeah.
too, yes.
we
Yes,
had
yes.
Reyes as well.
And Reyes, he came in January,
Yes.
yes.
Reyes came in January. So it's amazing that with those squad players, we achieved what we achieved. But it also showed why we didn't achieve more. Let me put it that way. Because if
Okay.
you remember, as much as we were wonderful in the league and achieved our invincible, we were
In the
out of
box.
the Champions League in quarterfinal, we were out of the FA
Chelsea.
Cup, we were out of the Carling Cup. We didn't get to any of the finals.
Yeah.
It's such a wonderful first 11. There were no backups. So it sort of paid off. It sort of showed off. And I think it's also the reason why we had so many draws in the league. I was checking it out. We had only 2 of the draws came after we won. 10
Yeah.
draws were before we won the league. Remember
Yeah.
that we won the league at Spurs?
Yes, I
Yeah.
suppose. Yes, yes.
Yes. And that was game week 34.
Mm-hmm.
So we had only 2 draws after that win. And the win was a draw as well. I think that the first 11, I believe that first 11 can hold their own against just about any team that I have seen in the league. That's my view. The catch was the rest of the team, they couldn't scratch the surface. Remember that the backup to Lehman then was
Graham Stack and
Almunia,
Rami Shaban.
Graham
Because we
Stack.
have sold Seaman to Man City.
Exactly. So when you gauge who was behind that first 11, maybe outside of Ray Palo and Edu, and then Reyes when he joined in January, I don't think we had such a great squad. The first
Yeah, we
11
actually did it.
will hold their own against anybody. I think Vieira was one of the best midfielders, or is one of the best midfielders to ever play in the Premiership. For instance, Perez was beautiful in the left wing role. Henry was lethal. I mean, we don't need to talk about King Henry.
Yeah.
DB, DB, you know me and DB, you know our relationship. DB10, one of a kind, I know. But when you scratch beyond the first 13, 14 players, you realize that that fit was not easy. They really did something.
True. I agree. Okay, so Diego, let's talk goals. When we won the league that campaign, we had 73 goals. But going into recent Arsenal teams, like the 22-23 season, we had 88 goals. That was not enough to win the league. We even went better in the 2024 season, where we had 91 goals. So now, we had a player in Henry who smashed in 30 out of the 73 goals. Take out Henry from that team, you have only 43 goals left.
Crazy.
What's your take now on the current goal spread back then and now? Which one is better, and what do you feel so?
I mean, there are pros and cons to everything in life, and football is not an exception. You don't, I mean, the pros is that when you have every member of your squads contributing in terms of GAs, it makes, everybody's impactful. One person isn't a decider in the team. Like, for example, there are rumors that Haaland is injured, and even when he was really fit, he was the one. At some point, he has scored 12, 13 goals, and every other squad member was like one goal each at some point. So
Yes.
at that moment, City was struggling. Nothing, not like, imagine if anything had happened to Haaland, right? Like, he's gone on an ACL, or he would have been dead and gone for Man City. Yeah, earlier on that season. So those are the pros and cons when you have everybody firing and everybody contributing. Not one person isn't like the focal point. It helps everybody manage and contribute even in their absence. So that's what Arteta has sort of instilled, that it's a team game. There is no standout player. Everyone is contributing. Tiki taka, cross, nod, inshallah, set piece, whatever. And then you have a focal person in Henry, who obviously, like you just mentioned earlier, 30 goals. And if he was not there, if he wasn't fit 3/4 of the season, I wasn't sure some of those, like, for example, the goal, like the equalizer against Spurs that we won the league at White Hart Lane, right? Like, I don't know who else could have scored, that goal. So I don't know. I think for me personally, we all want our strikers to bang. We want our strikers to have 20 plus goals in the season. But the honest truth is, it has its cons. The striker at some point might lose form. What happens? Something similar to what's going on with Saka right now. Saka has carried us on his back for years, and now this whole season he has capitulated. And now there are conversations that none of our front three can make, the EPL players of the season, just because he sort of made everybody look good. I don't know how to really, really answer that, because personal choice. You want your strikers to bang. That's why he's a striker. But then what happens when he's not playing or firing? What happens to the rest of the team? What happens? So it's still a question mark for me. But for the sake of results, for the sake of the team, Arsenal, and what we're going and what we are gearing towards, I think you want everybody to contribute. Someone like Gabriel at the back is firing almost 4 goals this season already from set pieces. Someone like Zubimendi has come in and is now playing in a more advanced position and scoring 5 goals in the season. So those goals have still.
Yeah, but don't forget to give a shout out to Ongo. He scored 5 goals for us as well too. That's a good striker.
You read my mind.
Bro, own goal at some point. Own goal was going for the Golden Glove. I said, who is this own goal? Yeah,
Good, man.
yeah, but ultimately, I don't want to talk about Arsenal now because Arsenal is actually pissing me off. But just for the sake of the nostalgic, effect, the beautiful game of football that we had played from 2000 to 2004, that's what made a lot of us join or support Arsenal. But to answer your question, I think for what we are going for this season, it's good that no one is indispensable. It's good that everybody is contributing. If Trossard is not scoring, we can bring in Martinelli to chip in his 1 goal. We can have Martinelli Zubimendi shoot from the 18-yard box, and it breaks the even, and we go in and score. Because if you're depending on a Gyökeres or you're depending on a Jesus, those guys will disappoint you. So yeah, I think I prefer everybody just firing on different cylinders.
Okay, so I'd like to get your thoughts on that as well.
I guess, like he has said, there are 2 ways to look at it. Everybody wants their striker to fire, to be on form, to be able to give them goals. But having the goals spread across the team ensures that you are not dependent on any one player and you can survive injuries. In fact, I confess, I was hoping that Haaland would take a 2 months, 3 months break. And let's see what they will do. Because honestly, it's just that unfortunately now they have, unfortunately for us now they have Semenyo. And Semenyo is a goal scorer as well. He's a scorer. As at before January, before Semenyo landed, if Haaland had gone 2 months and gone on a 2 months hiatus, City would have been in deep trouble because they were so dependent on Haaland's goals until I think late December when Haaland went dry. That's when they actually slowed down. If you notice, that's when they started really dropping points.
Drawing games up and down, yeah.
So the disadvantage of depending on the player is that when that happens, you get in trouble. But at the end of the day, Henry scored 30, and what happened? We won the league. Last season, Salah was involved in 70% of the goals that Liverpool scored to win the league. His percentages did not drop until after the league was won. And after the league was won, his percentages disappeared. But at the end of the day, they won the league because of his output. So, yes, we want it to spread. But if one player is going to deliver that league for us, please let him go ahead and deliver it. I'm not being choosy right now. I don't.
Yeah, the beggars can be choosers, right? Okay, I agree with you guys. Your thoughts and opinions are very, very correct. Sometimes if you can have that spread across the team, it would help. But at the same time, there should be that outstanding individual. Because my own opinion is, if you look at all the Premier League teams that won the Premier League in recent seasons, there's always that one guy that they could bank on, despite the fact that, yes, other players are coming up with goals, but there's always the Haaland or the Aguero or the Salah, that was always there to just pop up with that goal that was needed. Because there's sometimes when you want that spread to be across the team, but if no one steps up, nothing's going to happen around that. So that makes a lot of sense. Now, Diego, let's talk defense. So that season, we considered only 26 goals and then had 15 clean sheets. The record was still Chelsea, I think,
goals.
at that point, with 17 clean sheets, yes. And we came close with 15 clean sheets. Now, looking at our current defense, Gabriel Saliba, the kind of monster performances they put in week out. How would you compare their combination with that of So Campbell and Kolo Toure?
Ha. That's a very good question. That's really, for some of us that watched Kolo and Campbell, bro, the first time I actually watched those partnership was in 2003 against Rangers in the what's this preseason. I watched the
Yeah.
two of them for the first time in 2003, and I said when I saw them, I'm like, yo, we're winning the league. When I saw those two, I was like, it's done. Kolo was a monster. So Campbell with the vex from Spurs, that guy came, the way he pulled up, bro. So I just knew that we couldn't, like, there was nothing. There was nobody. We were the best at that in that era, and so that happened. We won the league, but bringing it to this era again, football has changed. Let me even add Lauren.
Mm-hmm.
Lauren came from Mallorca, I think, in 2000. And he came in as a
Yeah.
midfielder. As a Wenger carry and go right back.
Yes, sir.
Similar to what is going on with Uren Timber. Timber came in as, well, nobody knows what Arteta signs. He just, once he's a center, he goes for a center back and plays anywhere. So
I was going to say that nobody can honestly say what Timber came in as well.
Yeah, nobody can honestly say, but we just know that in Ajax, he was a center back, right?
Yeah.
As you have seen, I'm just giving you an example with Uren Timber that he is comfortable playing anywhere.
Where?
Even like 2 years ago, when we played Aston Villa, Timber was a left back in Vatin, and we won that game 2-0. That was what's that? Their centre forward that is an Arsenal fan. That goal that he missed.
Watkins.
He missed that goal. Odegaard just lit up. Come on, I miss Odegaard, man. But anyway, I digress. During Timber, Gabi, and Saliba, oh bro. See, the difference now is that the game has changed. The game has metamorphosed.
Okay.
It's no longer strictly on your defensive duties. We attack as a unit, we defend together as a unit. Everybody is putting in their shift. And that is why we have Gabriel scoring as many goals as we've seen. The highest scoring defender since 2020, since we signed him, since his debut he scored in his debut against Fulham 2020.
3-0.
He's been firing since then. So Saliba, Rolls Royce, he cleans up. The difference between those guys and our center backs are their ball carrying, their confidence on the ball. It was now playing at the back, and he needed people that are comfortable, and that's why Mustafi did not succeed in Arsenal. That's why the likes of
Socrates
don't bring that name up.
Hold the ball, their legs are shaking. But we have those guys that, bro, you're playing Real Madrid and you're playing from the back. You're playing Man City. So you're playing from the back until that cost us a few errors with. Why are we not even talking about Raya and Lehman, bro? Raya.
I'll totally get in there. Like it's like night and day, man.
Bro, don't let me. I don't want to take our time, bro. But talking about this thing.
No. Take it. No, you can take this stream. Cook, man. We're here to cook. Talk about Raya.
Raya is revolutionary.
Okay, no. So before you do that, talk about Ramsdale and Raya.
Sorry?
Talk about Ramsdale and Raya before you talk about Ramsdale and Raya first.
No, the difference.
Were you among the Arsenal fans crying when Raya came?
I hated the fact that we did. See, I hated that Arteta for the longest. You know what Ramsdale did for us? Right? Ramsdale is the reason why we played the Champions League. Bro, did you see his saves against Spurs?
Bournemouth.
Yeah. The guy was saving with his eardrum and his left teeth. The guy was, bro, that guy was saving everything.
Okay.
And
can I jump in?
Bro.
I love Ramsdale. I love the fact that he's an Arsenal fan that was very, very passionate about being in Arsenal. But I always pointed out one thing. And it was obvious when he left that it was an issue. If anybody remembers, we used to concede with the first shot on target.
Concentration, man.
We used to concede early goals. In fact, there was a season, I think it was Ramsdale's second season with us. We had 5 goals within the first 2 minutes. we considered 5 of the goals we considered that season were within the first 2 minutes of the
What game
match
was this?
Yeah.
in each of those, and that was irregular. And I always said it that it's a concentration problem, it's a keeper problem. Now, if you notice those goals, you could not directly say it was a keeper error issue. You couldn't say Ramsdale made a mistake. But I said that my understanding of football is that defense was disorganized, was always getting disorganized at the beginning of the match because the keeper wasn't fully concentrating. Because it's the keeper that will tell the defenders, this is what is happening in front of you, this is where it should
Yeah.
be, this
He
is
has
what's
that
going
foresight
on.
ahead of them.
Yes, and he wasn't doing it. If you notice, since Raya landed, I don't think we have considered in the first 10 minutes, unless where we scored first.
Okay.
That thing died when Raya, he actually stopped when
Yeah,
he
I
changed
know that there
keepers.
was a trend that always the opposition's first shot on target was always a goal at some point. I
A
remember.
goal.
So
And that was my issue with Ramsdale. I always felt, so when Raya was, my problem with Raya, to be fair, was that I didn't think he was good enough.
No.
Well, of course, he has since changed my mind.
I
I wanted better, but I felt Ramsdale was inadequate. I loved him. I loved his passion for Arsenal. And you could see it. He was happy being here. He was driving the team. But he was missing something.
I think I don't remember the game, but I think I can fairly just. I know there was a trend at that point. Ramsdale making stupid mistakes first 20-30 minutes of the game, but again, I think he improved the second season. I think he came when we were finished 8th, 5th, and then we came into the Champions League and we went on that run 22-23 season. And he was magnificent.
Yeah, he was keeper of the year now.
He was the PFL team of the year. You understand?
And he even beat Raya in the London Awards too as the best goalkeeper.
But then I watched Brentford because of Thomas Frank. You know, I like Thomas Frank because he's an Arsenal fan. Every interview, there's nothing. He doesn't complete the sentence without mentioning Arsenal. So that's why I just like. That's why I started like, you know, I love the guy.
We need to renew his membership, man.
Bro, when he went to Spurs, I'm like, this guy just want to kill your legacy. Like, you're good. But anyway, so
no, he was our spy.
No, but Raya was good.
On a mission for us.
Raya was good. You remember when I knew how good Raya was when they came up and the first game of the season, they gave us 2-0. Oh boy.
Oh, yeah.
That was when I started paying attention to the likes of Ivan Toney, Raya, some of those guys. But anyway, talking about those two goalkeepers, I just felt that they had their pros and cons. One, Ramsdale, not good on the feet, distribution 0, similar to Ben Leno, but one-on-one shot stopping, he's good.
Oh yeah,
Reflex.
Oh yeah, in fairness,
his reflex amazing.
Yes, amazing reflex.
Now the difference was that Arteta said it. Okay, let me not misquote him. I heard from a reliable source. I'm not sure. I think Arteta said it from an interview that his first option was Raya.
No. In 2020, we actually wanted to go for Raya when they were saying.
Brentford were saying they wanted to go for Raya, but because Raya was not available, they went for Ramsdale, 50 million. Yeah. Now Ramsdale came stinking first season, second season improved, third season was amazing. It got us to one of the reasons why we went on that run, 22-23 season, and for us to litter him the way we did, I wasn't happy. Now this is Raya. Raya, the way we want Raya to play. Raya is like a third man center defender.
Center back, yeah.
You understand? So playing from the back, this distribution, somewhat similar to Onana, right? But I don't know if it's instruction based. One thing I hate Raya for is that cut through passes, bro. Anytime he makes that central cut through passes, because out of 10, 4 are rubbish.
No, but then again, let me cut you in there. We're a team that does not take enough risks. Why is it that we tend to take more risks at the back compared to in attack? Because sometimes it does most crossfield balls that Raya gives actually build up some attacks.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Tino.
Sorry, can I butt in? So it is what you just said is very true. We take more risks at the back than in front. But I think it's more from the manager trying to, Arteta is
But not this,
very,
not this.
he's not defensive. He doesn't like the team facing counter attacks, So we're always going to the wings to build up play. But because I feel that there's a role, the way we can up our level attack wise is to start hitting the ball through the middle more. And we have players.
We have the Brentford game. They can rise had a ball through the middle, right? He's trying to pass. He went back to the side, and I was like, "Oh my good lord!"
We even have. What do you guys think of repurposing the young left back, Miles Lewis Kelly
to midfield?
I think we need to allow him play midfield minutes, especially when we are chasing games, because I know the boy can put his leg on the ball and drive. We just need people that can punch through the middle. We are too predictable. Arsenal is good, but the attack has another level to find.
Have you heard of this name O'Reilly?
I don't feel it's a signing yet. I feel that this current team can be repurposed to attack better than the way they do currently.
Have you heard of that name O'Reilly?
The
one in Man City?
Yes.
The Man City boy.
You see the difference between Arteta and Pep? That boy, half of this season he played as a left back. All of a sudden, we're seeing him playing as a left 8. And that is because that's his primary role when he was in the academy.
Yeah, like Miles.
We're asking the same for Miles, and this guy cannot take that reach. In fact,
to be fair, Mikel, he did it with Declan. He's sort of doing it with Zubimendi. Zubimendi says that they've given him the permission to go in a bit more. But I think what we need to do more, the attack, we have talented players. We need Odegaard, we need Eze, we need Saka. Sometimes when we are attacking, I see what's his name, the right back, Timber, in the right 8 position, and Saka, who should be in the front, is the one on the wing. I said, what kind of lopsided nonsense is this? I need Saka inside the box because he's the one that can shoot and score goals. Saka really needs to. We need if this season is going to end in joy for us, Saka needs to come to the party. He's the only one in the team I think can find an elite level and push us to the title. Goals wise and assists, goals.
And I showed the numbers in the past. That's fair.
This is where.
Okay. Can I jump in as well?
Go ahead.
I agree that Saka needs to step up, and I think the inner channel Timber thing works because Timber plays better on the inner channel. Is white that likes going round
to the line.
So that system sort of works. And Timber can be very dangerous in that inner channel.
In addition to that,
we just
he set up
Martinelli.
I think he was the one that
exactly. And then remember that from what I've seen, Timber is a centre back. He's not great with crosses. That's why Saka has to be out wide to give the crosses and the passes.
You guys, sorry for watching. You guys feel that we
more important. Sorry, hold on. More important, I think Odegaard or whoever is going to play the right 8 also needs to step up.
Yeah.
When our forwards have done well, the part everybody misses, everybody thinks it's about Saka.
Saka's
best games is when he has combined well with that right person, and it usually used to be Odegaard. He needs to play off someone. He's not a Salah that will dribble 3 players. That's not Saka's style. He needs to play off someone. Saka reminds me of Perez.
Okay, I agree.
That's who he reminds me of.
So, Diego, do you know to finish your thoughts now? Are you done?
Yes, please go ahead.
So, I'll make 2 points.
We need Odegaard.
I see you've changed your style, so I'll make 2 points real quickly. So, first thing, I agree with Ade. Saka's positioning with Timber makes perfect sense because remember, depending on where you are on the pitch, some of these guys are left-footed and right-footed. So if you are in a certain position, you need a right-footed player to be able to take those opportunities. And if you're crossing, you need someone that is a bit ambidextrous like Saka, who is going to be on that far wing to take chances like crosses or shooting if need be. But if you notice, we play our fullbacks like false nine at some point. You will see Calafiori in the box. You will see Timber in the box. So those guys,
Agents of
yeah,
chaos.
but those guys are in that are better placed in that position to take chances with their stronger foot versus Saka, who, if the ball is not in his preferred position, it's harder for them to. So that's number 1 point. And then I think number 2 point that I was going to make is the way that things have not worked in our favor this season. I don't know if any of you watched Barca yesterday, Barca and Atletico. That would be Arsenal of 2022-23. The chances that Barca would give the Atletico playing high line, giving us spaces. Nobody gives those spaces anymore. And Arteta is not helping with the slow build-up. So by the time we are trying to pass 10-4 sideways passes, everybody has returned back to status quo.
So, and I think we had a discussion here. Tino that said it. When we played in 2023, we were coming off the season, we were 5th. So team did not respect us that much, and we're just cooking. When they now realize that, these guys can actually come at you, man, everybody has to change. If you look at the Champions League this year, see how we play the Champions League. Everybody is trying to play football, and once you play open football, they're going to kill you. But everyone does the whole low block thing, and it just, it's just crazy. Okay, so another thing to think about is the tactical evolution in football. Back in 2004, teams had slower tempo. It was less data-driven. There was less pressing. There was less positional rigidity. Wenger was basically ahead of his time. Upon to Mourinho now came with his haram football and changed things in 2005. So, Ade, let me start with you on this. Comparing how football in the Premier League used to be in Wenger's time, and how it is now with Arteta, what are the key differences you've seen, and which one is better for you as a national fan watching?
Bottom line is we need to win. So I forgive Arteta his caution. We need to win a title. So what are the differences? I think even at our peak under Wenger, teams weren't as defensive as this. I can't remember a league where low block was the order of the day. Out of the other 19 members of the league, the number of people that have not played Arsenal with a low block, maybe 3 or 4. Even Brentford, it wasn't a low block, but they were quite defensive in their approach. City scored 1 goal and went to sit back, went to play 10 men behind the ball.
Yeah, he went to City.
As in that. So from a standpoint of what is the difference, even under Wenger, when the Invincibles were flying at their best, the low block wasn't low, everybody behind the ball, sit back. It wasn't all defensive. And the unfortunate thing to the low block system is you need your players to be on point. Where you're faced with low block, you're going to need a lot of fast and skillful players. One of the things the Invincibles had was Henry, who could find his way around. He could create chances on his own. We don't have that. We actually don't have that. And I wonder, watching City, why is the low block not as efficient with City as it has been with us? I've seen some teams play them efficiently, but a lot of teams with the low block as they are with us. So something is still wrong with our system. I don't know what it is.
But I think Diego mentioned it. We are very slow in how we progress play.
But City is also slow in how they progress play.
Compared to us,
City are more efficient, man. The way
they take more risks.
Did you watch?
Maybe that's it.
Did you watch Fulham?
So the two things I would say City have is maybe they take more risks. I think they're also slow. I've watched them. I've actually truly studied them because I couldn't understand why low blocks were more efficient with us than with them. They are as slow as us in their build-up. So with teams that are not even ready to attack, City struggle. So, if you watch, there have been games where they are passing from side to side for 15 minutes and they cannot do any penetrative whatever. That happens to City. But the difference, like you have said, is they have Haaland and they are more efficient. So when they had KDB in the midfield, the low blocks weren't as because KDB was like was almost like a DB10. He could pick out a pass, even with 10 people in front of him. They don't have that anymore. And I think that's part of why they're struggling so much. Maybe
Okay.
that's what we need to. Maybe we need to find our own passer. Maybe Odegaard needs to take it up a notch. He needs to be world class. But the main difference between the Invincibles and us is, like you have said, one, we don't take, the Invincibles took more risk. That's for sure. Arteta plays to prevent transition. And I don't
Yeah,
blame
fair.
him. We need to win. Do you
Fair
get?
enough.
And then
Okay.
number two, the teams are a
Mhm.
lot more defensive than they used to be. They're
Okay,
too
I agree.
comfortable being defensive. I don't get
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so Diego, what's your thought on the way teams press now compared to before? Because I was just looking at the table of when Arsenal won the league in 2004. There was like, Arsenal 90, Chelsea 79, Man United 75, Liverpool was 60. So there was already that gulf, right, between the top three and the rest. Because Newcastle was 56, 56, both were 53. When you compare the way teams were in terms of their ranking in the table, and when you compare them now, has the golf quality really shifted in your opinion? And what's kind of different now?
Okay, so if again, I want to make sure I understand your question. You're saying pressing is part of the games right now in this season, and you're asking, you know, you were at the table where Arsenal is stopping the pressing versus other teams.
Yes.
Well, for me, I don't do much of stats. I like the eye test a lot, and so see, it depends on who. For us personally, I'm going to talk about Arsenal, right? The eye test
Mhm.
suggests that when Odegaard and Gyökeres is playing together, so we attack in a 4-4-2 formation. We have the two of them pressing, and we have like Trossard and Saka just sitting back a little bit to wait for maybe long crosses or any loose ball as a result of that, of those duo pressing. And I think that has helped us. But since Odegaard has been MIA for the majority of the season, I wonder how we gained that statistics anyway. But pressing is something that I've watched closely City do, and I was gonna make reference to the Fulham game, bro. First of all, City's intention is to kill the game in the first half, and the Fulham game, it was as though they were like 16 players playing against the Fulham 11, bro. They were all over the place. They will flood you like a thief in
Yeah.
the night, and they will force you to play out from the back. And kudos to Fulham. They tried their best. They played well from the back, but they will always make mistakes when they press you like that. And the last time I saw that from Arsenal was against PSG last season when we were trailing by one goal and we came full force to pursue and give it all. I don't see us pressing, and that is one thing that maybe you guys will disagree with me, but from the eye test, I don't see us pressing that much. Apart from Jokeres, I don't see anybody really pressing. Is there just models in the center of the pitch? But pressing is good because again, with your energy and with your prowess, you're able to not just make the opposition make mistakes. When they lose the ball, you're able to control the ball. You're able to still go on the attack again. And then when they have the ball, you're pressing again, forcing them to make the mistakes. That's something I don't see us do, at least this season. You guys can chip in if you disagree, but I really do not see Arsenal pressing as much as I would like to, really.
Yeah, I agree because Odegaard was someone that we always took pride in him leading our press. But since his injury and his return back into the team, I don't think we're basically seeing the same. It has kind of been a big whole lot different. Gyökeres tries to press as well, but since he had a muscular injury against Burnley and came back, he has kind of eased
And
off
that
a
is why
bit.
I think that
And
is
let's see just
why he's sort of gone with Havertz ahead of Eze, because Havertz provides that, he's a nuisance in that front. He's just going to
yeah,
pursue every ball, and he's also an area threat for whenever we do our set piece. So he edges Eze in a lot of departments, and that is why personally I don't see us pressing as much. It's just very, very, very annoying when Gyökeres is the only one running from left to right and everybody's just sitting back. It's discouraging.
yeah,
Versus when you have an Odegaard,
it's very
that's one
discouraging.
thing I know everybody loves about him: his work ethics, his pressing, his first to go, to the opposition to sort of pursue the ball. So yeah, I mean, I don't. I'm sure the statisticians are geniuses, but I don't. When I watch the game, I don't see us press that much.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the reality check in Europe. Despite having an unbeaten campaign in the Premier League, our Champions League campaign that season was quite dismal. Our first game was against Internacional. We lost 3-0 at Highbury. No one saw that coming. There were goals from Cruz, Van der Med, and Obafemi Martins. Then our next game was against Lokomotiv Moscow. We drew 2-0 and now lost 2-1 to Dynamo Kiev. So in our first 3 games in the Champions League that year, we had only 1 point from a possible 9. And of course, in the remaining 3 games, we beat Dynamo Kiev 1-0, went to Inter and scored 5-1, where Henry scored 2 amazing goals in the San Siro. Then we now beat Lokomotiv Moscow, right? We got into the knockout phase and played against Celta Vigo. We beat them in their home 3-2 and beat them 2-0 at the Highbury. Then the Chelsea game came along. We went to Stamford Bridge first. Aido Gudjonsen scored us. Then Perez equalized. Then when they came to Highbury, Wenger scored first. We thought we were going to qualify for the semi-finals, only to concede to Lampard and Wayne Bridge. And what made it so sad was that even after Chelsea beat us, they went to play Monaco and lost to Morientes and his team. And of course, Monaco played against Porto and they lost to Jose Mourinho. So my first question to you is, if we had managed to beat Chelsea, do you think that team would have gone all the way to win the Champions League for the first time?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I was
you're muted.
muted.
Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I feel they would have won. The team, I always think about that Wayne Bridge goal. It haunts me. I remember it flying in. I remember that goal flying into the net. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, yeah, I think the team, because see the team they played in the final, Porto. It was a strong Porto team, but I don't think they would have beaten us in the final, European Cup.
Yeah.
So somebody mentioned earlier about the first 11 being very strong, but after the squad players and all that, I think this is the result. They couldn't be consistent across multiple competitions. So that was just it. I mean, you need a squad, a good squad of players to, even with as big as the current team, the squad is. In fact, sometimes I feel that we have too many players currently. Yet, you see how hard it is. It's a struggle. There's injuries here. Sometimes there's inconsistency in selections, back line, different attack. I don't think we've had a fit front line together that have played 5 straight games. There's always one niggle. Yeah. There's always one. So if you don't have a squad, it's difficult to be alive in all these competitions. And but the Champions League was prioritized. Obviously, it was priority. And that when Bridge goal was a sucker punch because it was against the run of play. Arsenal were on top. It was just out of the blue. He shot and scored, and that was the end.
Okay, fair enough. So, Diego, I can get your thoughts on our Champions League campaign in 2004, and of course, our Champions League campaign last season where we went all the way to the semi-finals. So, the question now: are we better equipped to win the Champions League than when we were in 2003?
Let me tell you the truth. For me personally, I think we have a bigger chance, and I'm sure a lot of people will just a lot of fans will come for me for this, but I think we have a stronger chance of winning the Champions League than the Premier League this season.
No way.
Yeah,
really?
I think so. And again, this is not even about the Premier League, so I'm going to focus on the Champions League. The Champions League has, I mean, we who haven't we played against? We have experiences with the big guys in Europe. PSG, we've won PSG before. Yes, the last 2 games we played against them, we lost. We've won Bayern Munich. Those were our husbands in the past. 5-1, 5-1.
Yeah, 10-2 back in the day.
We've gone to Real Madrid and we could have won 3-1 against Real Madrid in their home, if not for Saka's Paneka, So I mean, we have tasted it. We're no longer naive to the competition. When we are going to the competition, we are the most feared team in Europe right now. Everybody, and the thing is that they will have us have a field day. Nobody is going to pack the bus against us in Europe, especially from the quarterfinals, to the final. Everybody's coming to play. You understand? So just let me not play City as my prayer. Let me not. Right? Let's just play City home and away. I think home and away. No. Wembley and FA
No, you have a
Cup.
point.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So let me
Diego,
just
I think I'm seeing where you're coming from with going
Yeah.
to this, because the truth is, the Arsenal team is very few teams can beat Arsenal over 2 legs. You will likely not score up to 3 goals over 2 legs. So all it takes is for them to click up front and they can do something special. Even as depleted as the team was last year, it wasn't
Last
easy
season.
for PSG to win over 2 legs.
And funny enough, there's even Donnarumma that basically get PSG in that
I
game.
mean, I think the Champions League thing is there. Now that he said it, I started thinking about it. The league, I felt, is so. If you are the best team in the league, you win the league. There's no most times,
pretty
almost like 90%, 100% of the time, you win the league. So
It's 38 games. You have to be the
after
best
38
team,
games,
actually.
the best team wins the league. The Champions League, there's room for mistakes because you can have a poor,
just one chance. Yeah.
That's why we've not won it, because there have been years that Arsenal have been really strong and they didn't even make it to the quarterfinals, talk more finals. I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that in Europe now, there is no team that wants to play Arsenal, and Arteta is an extremist. You remember when the 4-1 hammering we took during that title running against Man City, huh? At home, was it at the Emirates?
No, away.
The thing made Mikel become. He built this team to fight Pep's City. The Arsenal team was built to stop Pep City, and that is why he's such a defensive team that can grind out. So in a battle against City, I can easily see us winning, because since then, after that loss, Arsenal has not lost to City again, and the games are always cagey, tactical. In fact, the last one we had Pep,
like chess, pretty much.
A deep block in the last match. So, and this current City team presents you chances. All the games I watch them, even when they win 3-0.
Yeah, so they no longer have that fear factor anymore. Actually,
they don't have it. They don't have it. What they have is that they have Haaland and they have Pep. You understand?
Yeah.
They have a top class manager that always finds solutions with whatever. He can always motivate his teams to play. But the squad-wise, the team I'm looking at now is not a team I will fear. I don't want to play City early because of the emotional. Those games take too much emotion out of the fan base, out of the players. I feel that we invest too much emotions whenever we play City, and the result can affect how the subsequent games will go. So that is the reason I don't want to play them early. But I don't mind playing City in the final. I don't mind playing in a semi-final or competition.
So Tino.
Yeah, go ahead.
We played Brentford twice this season.
Yes.
There was a reason why we beat them 2-0, and there's a reason why we drew 1-1. It's about the form of the team. So you don't just look at the table beginning of the season and say, "Oh, I'm going to beat Leeds." You don't know when and how
they are fun when you play them.
You don't even know 3 hours before. Like you just go and prepare and do your best.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You need to factor in your injuries as well.
The reason why I'm saying this is the way you're sounding about City. If you are talking to me about City middle of January, I'm like, I agree. Bro, I watched City's last 2 games and they reminded me of City of 2 years ago.
Because Liverpool became stupid now. Because Liverpool won that game, their confidence have been dented.
Fulham is not. We didn't win Fulham last season now.
No, their Fulham match was the perfect game. They played a perfect game.
Bro, first half, they were like...
They played the perfect game.
They were like... Bro, the way they were going for that all attack, the moment they lose... Iwobi didn't see the ball now. He didn't even touch the ball. Before I say anything, let me watch City again. Let me just see, because, bro, the way they played in the last 2 games against Liverpool and against Fulham, I'm like, what's going on? Have they picked form? At the time where we are losing form, it's not. It's a mismatch. So I'm just.
We're very lucky early in January when they started drawing all those games. We're also winning our own games too, because they will have closed the gap. We had the chance to extend our gap too, obviously.
We won this league in January.
The Premier League. When Man U were winning all the game, Man U beat City, Man U beat Arsenal, Man U had a late win against Fulham, their fans were all about everywhere. They were this close to losing to West Ham that is 18th in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So in the Premier League, there's always that one thing that just come and just carry a bag of sand and pour in your gari. The game you're expecting to win, they just change it for you. You
Yeah.
know. Are you still with us? You're kind of.
Yes, I
We're
am.
not saying you're okay. Okay. Let's hear from you on our European reality check. Although we can't see you again.
So, so one of the things I was trying to do, you can't
Okay, we
see.
can see you
Okay.
now.
So one of the things I was trying to do, I was trying to go through their previous results. One of the things Pep used to do back in the day, previous seasons, if you notice, Pep experiments with the team until December. It almost like he can't settle his mind on who's first team, who's what tactics to play and everything. But once they hit that December form, they go on a run that
Like
blows everybody
like
away.
like
That's
like
what
Jordan was
that was their
X-Men,
routine.
man.
Exactly. And he always starts around that middle December. And by February, they are ahead, and then they're getting the title at a counter. This season, they're just hitting form in February. And I believe the main reason they're hitting form, if anything at all, is because of Semenyo and Guehi.
Yeah,
Two
they
things that
galvanized the team actually.
Fantastic.
yes. So even apart from the fact that those guys are solid players, Guehi has changed the defense. He has upgraded the defense in no small
Yeah,
measure.
two
I
clean
noticed it
sheets
in this their
already.
last game
Yeah,
against
I
Fulham.
agree. Yeah,
So that's one.
and
Two
that's why Pep
things
was really going crazy when he cannot have going for the Carabao Cup final.
exactly. Do you understand? But even more important, another thing that happens is that when you buy new players that are that good, that show up in training, and the other players are like, oh wow, this guy is quality, it boosts
Yeah,
the morale of the
yeah.
team. I think we missed one. I understand. I mean, having spent 300 million in the summer, it's not easy. But I think we missed one by not buying
Yeah,
anybody
no,
in
but the
January.
issue would have been who would you
You
have
notice
bought
our
in
best
January with the way
things.
the team was. The team is well stacked. You
No,
had
no,
to
no.
let
I
Mane
get it,
go.
but what I keep saying is sometimes you buy to boost the team. If you look at our best seasons, even under Wenger, it happened when we bought in January. The Invincibles, Reyes
Yeah,
came, and everybody was impressed by Reyes. And it wasn't even cheap. I remember as at then, 70 million was a big deal to Arsenal
yeah, yeah.
when Reyes landed. A team that is on top of the league, that is doing well, hasn't lost, and then you go and add such quality. It just changes, it just boosts morale in the,
Yeah.
especially as well, they didn't have, we had already discussed that, only 14 players really.
Makes sense.
Everybody
I
else
agree with
was
you. Okay, so lead the final slide.
exactly. So
And now,
unfortunately, in this case, we had spent so much money in the
yeah.
summer and the team was really full. So bringing somebody in, if anything at all, what we ended up doing was letting one area go.
I agree. So now I'm going to get your thoughts on this question. And I'll start with you, Diego. Are modern Arsenal teams actually better? And you make me understand, first of all, whether it's a yes or a no, and why. What do you, Diego?
My brother. Yes and no. Yes and no, because again, when you mentioned about this program earlier, my first thing that came to my mind was, on my own, I started, first 11 versus our first 11 now, and I made some few comparisons in my head. First of all, the game has changed in the goalkeeping department. Lehman and Raya. While you agree that Lehman and Seaman were like the demigods, like those guys were highly revered and respected in the dressing room, they were good, clean sheet after clean sheet. You can also understand that Raya is no small fish. 3 consecutive Golden Glove potentially,
Yeah.
and even in his first season, he didn't even start the Premier League. He has missed like 4 5
Yes.
games.
Yeah,
And
Ramsey
so
played the first 4 games, actually. That's true.
apart from that, what he does with his feet, left and right, his
Amazing.
distribution. Now we are playing less of short passes and more long balls, and that's why we are no longer like Like the long balls are not like, they're more like panic. But I think the instruction is now go for more long balls. But primarily his role in this Arsenal squad has
Build up.
has queued up, has metamorphosed. And then you look at Lauren and Uren Timber right back. Again, Timber, I don't know how. See, outside the last game against Brentford, I don't remember any bad game apart
I
from that
think he's
last.
tired. I think he's tired. I think he has been overplayed.
Yeah,
No, but yes,
Like,
it's easy. But that's an easy excuse because this guy has been granted. He's the most privileged Arsenal player. He doesn't. They don't give. See, if they are meant to train 3 times, they allow Timber 1 day extra rest. So I mean, we can easily just say he's
But
tired.
why Ben White? Why is he playing?
Ben White is not as fit. The last time we tried to play Ben White, ordinary tracking.
4 games, he
Ordinary
tore his
tracking
hamstring.
back. He almost
No,
tore
but we
his
need
ACL.
him to be. Timber. We can't run Timber into the ground. We need
Yeah,
to use
knows
the
that.
squad.
No, I think Arteta knows that. But Arteta wants to win. And you cannot gamble at this point. Okay, why is Haaland playing game in, game out? Why is Salah last season played almost 38 games in the Premier League? At some point, these guys might have to just take in more load.
It's true.
Like you inject them if you have to inject them. We cannot.
We compound V.
Nah, man, this is 13 more games to go. I'll be 12 more games to go. And then you talk about the centre backs, Kolo and Campbell. Bro, what we have now is like a refurbished Kolo and Campbell. One guy is like the most informed, like the highest goal scorer in the whole of Europe in terms of Gabi Magalhaes. The other guy, when it comes to cleaning up and making that last ditch tackle, second to none. You go on we're left back, I will go.
Okay. So before I go to your left back, quick question for you, Diego.
Yeah.
Where will you place Kolo and Campbell versus Peter Saka and Koscielny?
Hey, God, these are night and day now. You cannot compare. These are night and day now. If who is Metasaka?
Metasaka and Koscielny were good.
No,
Campbell and Torre were on another
Koscielny
level.
was good. I disagree.
Yes.
Koscielny was good. Not
That's what I'm saying. Koscielny and Metasaka were good.
As a
But
combo.
Campbell and Kolo were on another level.
Okay. So Diego, back to your left back.
level. Yeah, okay. I hear you on that one. I hear you on that
Okay,
one.
so Diego, continue your left back now.
Ashley Cole. The only problem I have with Ashley Cole is how he left. And that I wouldn't let that bias my when it comes
The objective here, yeah.
football ability. I don't think we've had a better left back since he left. I mean, who better left back since he left? I don't think so.
Tierney tried though, but he just injured most of the time.
Tierney
I really like Tierney.
Tierney was a traditional left back who would bump up and down. He couldn't convert. He couldn't play the Arteta system. And then in the midfield, you had Vieira and Gilberto. If we're being honest,
Rice and Zubi.
Zubi is not. I mean, Gilberto was injury prone. Like I said earlier, it was part of the reasons why we lost to Chelsea in 2004 title. We didn't have a suitable backup for him, but he was good, and he scored the first goal at the Emirates. So I think in terms of what Arteta is trying to build, the conductor, the tempo, the management in the midfield, and drive.
Okay, so quick question. While you're thinking about this, where will you place Partey? Partey the player.
Partey in the Arsenal, the prime Partey or the injured Partey, which one? The Partey of last season.
Partey. Where will you place?
The Partey of last season. The Partey of last season.
No, Partey that we signed from 2020 and played very well minus the injuries. Where will you place him between Zupi and Gilberto as the 6?
Partey.
Okay, okay. No, let me rephrase the question. Rank these 3 players: 1, 2, 3. Partey, Zubimendi, Gilberto. In their prime.
Partey, Zubimendi, Gilberto. That's the answer.
Okay, so go ahead. Right wing.
Right wing is Ljungberg and
Saka Ljungberg.
Ljungberg and Saka. So with Saka, right? I'll just say Saka represents so much for the club. There's
Saka has to be in. Saka has
no. There's so much to Saka apart from footballing ability. Saka is the reason why a lot of people love Arsenal. His attitude on and off the pitch, Jesus
Fantastic.
boy. Humble, performing on the highest level in England, and carried us on his shoulder for at least 2 seasons. I'm not going to judge this. This season is an anomaly, and it happens to the best of us. Something that Salah is dealing with as well, right? So again, Saka over Ljungberg. Ljungberg without the ball was a menace, but with the ball, his decision making was questionable for me. And then, of course,
Left wing, Perez, Martinelli,
Perez and Martinelli,
through
day
side.
and night. Let's move on to the center forwards, which is Thierry Henry, Titi. Titi. But Perez, when we won the Invincible, Perez scored 19 goals and 14 assists that season. He was on fire. But I think one thing with Perez was he was always overshadowed with Henry in the mix. Because there was a Henry who obviously I think that's in he scored over 30 goals, like you said. Nobody the light was not much on Perez. And then you have a Beckham, who, if you go on YouTube, like the best of the goals that you could see in Europe was from that guy. He was a revolutionary.
Okay, so that brings my next question for you. Beckham, Ozil, Odegaard. Have you rated them?
Again, is it Ozil of Madrid?
Prime.
Ozil any day, anytime. But Ozil of Arsenal is just behind Beckham, so it's gonna be Beckham, Ozil, and Odegaard.
Okay.
And then of course TT 228 goals. Crazy. Crazy.
Okay, thank you so much. Ade, your turn. You're muted, Ade.
Sorry, so which one do you want me to rate?
No. Answer the question. The same way Diego answered it. How are they better? Okay. Pound for pound.
Pound for pound.
Yeah.
Honestly, the only place where I'll say that we have a better team today than the Invincibles is maybe at center back. And maybe the keeper, maybe Raya versus Lemon.
Okay.
I'll pick DB over any of our midfielders. I'll pick Paddy over any of our midfielders. I'll pick Gilberto, maybe Rice over Gilberto.
No, but Rice is playing good.
Beyond
right?
that,
No.
We have no in this team. We have no Perez in this team. We have no Lundberg in this team.
So give me your thoughts on Ljungberg versus Saka. Why you're picking him over Saka?
Okay, so let me put it this way. Saka has the potential to be greater than Lundberg. But if we're looking at this season, Lundberg's time with us until the downturn when he had to leave, Lundberg output in the team, not necessarily goals, but output within the team has been higher than what Saka has done this season. If we're saying previous seasons, yes, Saka excelled. I mean, the team, he practically carried the team. But this season, Lundberg did not have a season like this. In those is between 2023 and 2026, I think. He didn't have a season like this. A season of dry spell, of little to no effect on team results, on debate. I mean, all of a sudden, we're debating how good Saka is to the team. I was very sad about it, but that's the reality. Saka's output and maybe it's an injury issue, because I think this started after his last injury. Yeah. Or the previous one. I think the downturn started after the previous injury.
When he came back,
he hasn't exactly been the same person with that injury. So I think it's down to injury. But when I look at the team pound for pound, Saka has the potential to be better than Freddie. But we forget that Freddie was the guy that used to be there when Henry was marked out. Freddie was the one they used to lay the ball to, especially DB10. I always remember those passes where Henry is deep, is not in the box. It was Freddie Ljungberg that used to be in the box for those deliveries, because Henry was never a box player. It was never the typical striker that waited for the ball. It was Freddie that used to be in that box to deliver, to get on the end of those passes and crosses. Saka is not that player. Okay. So, but Saka is quite useful. It's just that this season is not being the same person. True. And if we're looking at this season, the only people, like I said, is maybe the center backs and Rice. I can't think of anybody else. Ashiko was the best in the world when he was with us. As much as we love him or hate him, he was the best left back. Yeah, Laurent came as a midfielder, but he did a wonderful job in the right back.
So from your take, you take Laurent above Timber?
Yes, I would.
No.
Awesome.
I would.
No.
Okay, Tino, like I said, let's hear from you.
So for
So
me,
I would say Timber also has the potential to be
When
better,
Ali is done.
but I would say Timber has the potential to be better as well. But he hasn't done enough to replace Laurent.
Okay,
I
thank
don't
you.
the only person I feel has done enough to replace anybody in that team is Rice. And I'll say Rice over
Vieira.
Gilberto Silva.
No, no, no.
No, over
You have to
Gilbert,
compare
please
Rice
leave
with
my
Vieira.
Vieira
Rice
alone.
is the box to box midfielder
it's
now.
not they can score.
Yes, but at the same time, he can play a
He can play.
six. So I'll put him over Gilberto. But leave my Paddy.
Okay.
Without Paddy, that team could not have gone unbeaten.
Yeah, fair enough.
Paddy was the
Paddy
reason
must
they
be in
went.
the team.
Paddy was the leader of that team that led them to the unbeaten.
Okay, so Tino, let's hear from you, pound for pound.
So for
Who's
me, I
better?
will keep the current back line apart from Ashley Cole. So I'll go Raya, Cole, Gilberto and Saliba, Gabriel and Saliba with Timber. In midfield, I'll go Vieira and Declan Rice. Perez stays, Beckham stays. Then I'll go Saka over Bloomberg.
Ljungberg.
Then obviously Horace, there's no conversation to be had. That's the team for me.
I have a question for the panel.
Go ahead, bro.
Do you guys think that Odegaard and Saka are holding us back from being a better team? And I mean, the way I'm asking the question, let me explain myself, right? So, leveraging on City, right? Because obviously City is the best is the best for this analogy. We play almost similar,
Yeah, the yardstick.
yeah. At some point, Foden was the star boy of City, homegrown, everything. At some point, he wasn't playing. He lost a lot of form, and protracted period of time he wasn't performing. Boom, sat on the bench, brought in Sevinho. Sometimes played Bernardo Silva on the right wing. Like this guy, KDB, was losing it. Oh, this nigga is old. Sold him. Versus Arsenal, Odegaard, Saka. No matter what we buy in the market, we are not buying people that can I won't say compete, that are potentially higher rated players in that position, in the number 10 or in the right wing forward. So we are going for Madueke, who we know is not a proper, I don't know, I won't call him not a proper player, but it is not an elite player when you compare with Saka. So any day, anytime, there is no conversation who starts when a Saka and a Madueke is fit. You definitely know that Saka is starting the game. So that means we are stuck with Saka. We are hoping and praying that he's going to come back. And if he doesn't come back, we're going to start. He's our star boy. So do you think that emotional sentiment should play a role in metamorphosing or growing a team like Arsenal to get to the next level? Or do we have our favorite and say these guys are untouchable? Come rain, come shine, they start.
Okay,
Can I be the first to answer that?
Okay, let me go first real quick. Where we would have got it right was if we got Rafinha from Leeds, right? At some point, we were gunning for Rafinha.
Mm-hmm.
He now said, Chelsea came and bullied us, right, as they like to always do. Then, of course, he now put his hat in Barcelona, went to Barcelona. You can see what Rafinha has done in Barcelona.
What?
As far as I'm concerned, that Lamine Yamal this thing was crap. He was actually the best player in the world. Maybe the Milan was better than him, no doubt. But he was actually number 2, not number 5.
No, but
So if we had
he was displaced from that right position to the left. And
Yes,
God
yes.
saved him that he's still producing that number. Because they turned on him in Barcelona when he came.
I agree. So if we had a Rafinha in our squad, the reliance on Saka would have dropped significantly, and Saka would have progressed to that level. Because remember, Rafinha was already established at Leeds.
Mm-hmm.
Saka was just taking over from Pepe and Willian. But
Yes.
because we allowed Saka to play consistently, that he got to that level where he got to where he became our star boy. And of course, injuries have come and taken him down. However, when Saka plays on the pitch, the influence remains. My own issue is with Odegaard. 2023 was the best Odegaard we've ever seen, where he plays further up the pitch and seen as a 10 and scored 15 goals for us. The mistake we made was making him captain, in my own opinion, because that extra burden of responsibility allowed him to start dropping deep, changing his style, just be a man for the team kind of vibe. And now we have lost that. What we led to now to the battle that was to sign Eze. If Eze played the way we expected him to play, Odegaard would have already been out of this team. But fortunately, Eze is not doing that. So to answer your question, Saka needs to still remain where he is. And now we can now place on like Madueke to at least manage his game time because we have seen the effect injury has had on Saka. But on the Odegaard side, it's more on the fact that we tried to essentially replace him with a better player in Eze that was already established in the Premier League, but Eze is not up to scratch. So that's my take. Adi, go ahead.
So to a large extent, I agree with you. But one of the things that is happening with Saka is that we are too reliant on the right wing. And when we don't use the right wing, the team struggles. If you look at what happened with Brentford, the minute Saka came on and we couldn't find him, we were struggling to find an attack. And what simply happened was Brentford was prepared to stop the ball from getting to Saka. They knew that Saka was an outlet that they couldn't afford to give time on the ball. So they sort of choked and forced us to keep going in the other direction, and we were struggling. If we had someone that's efficient on the other side, like what he has said about Rafinha, if Rafinha had come and played on the left and Saka was on the right, teams would be in trouble. Because to cope with those two, the problem we have on the left is that Trossard is not an athlete. He's effective. I love Trossard. I love what he has done for us. But he's not an athlete. So he doesn't put the same pressure and influence the game the way Saka does. And Martinelli is, I'm sorry, erratic. I don't know, the inconsistency blows my mind. If both left and right were playing at the same level, the runs on Saka will not be so obvious and it won't even exist. That what we need a left side that is as good and as efficient as our right side at the moment. Our right side is not world class, but let even the left side be as good as the right side.
Can Eze be the person on the left? Just that he cannot defend well.
Honestly, we need an athlete on the left because we need someone with speed and strength to balance out the right and an efficient person on the left. And then the other thing is, if you look at Arteta's system, which goes to my second about Odegaard, I mean, you will know that I was anti-Odegaard. I've been anti-Odegaard from day one. Even his best season, I loved him his best season, but I said he still wasn't good enough. And he hasn't come anywhere near that peak in the last 2 seasons. I say it. And so I was very keen on Eze coming. But watching Eze in that team and watching Odegaard when he comes on, I realized the problem is not Eze or Odegaard. Eze has his own issues. I'm not going to... Eze, he doesn't have the same concentration and mobility that Odegaard does. Yeah. Now, the problem is this. Arteta ball needs... I call it Arteta ball. Arteta style of play needs an Odegaard. Now, it doesn't have to be Odegaard, but you need a mobile 8 on your right. For Saka's sake, for the whole team's sake, you need a mobile 8. That's what I've realized, that the reason Odegaard flows with Arteta ball so well is because he understands it so well.
Yeah, he's
Odegaard is like a quarterback. You know the way the quarterback controls play, calls play in American football. That's what Odegaard does for us. He's one that decides when we press. He's the trigger for when we press. He's the trigger for when we attack, when we defend, when we hold the ball. He's the one that controls the rhythm of the game. Eze cannot do it. Eze was never built to do it. He has never had to that influence. So the problem, exactly. So the problem we're faced with is, and I feel Odegaard is holding us back. But Odegaard is holding us back because of Arteta ball. So it's one of two things that is going to happen. Arteta is going to have to change his style of play to let Odegaard go, or he's going to find an Odegaard that can be more creative. He's going to have to choose one. But amazingly, Kai comes into the game. He doesn't control the game, but he makes our attack more efficient.
More fluid, yeah.
Which
that amazed me.
Which contradicts what we are thinking. Oh, is this based on Arteta's instruction, or that this guy is just like we are not sure what's going on at this point.
So let me come in.
And from what we've seen, it's as if Arteta even prefers Kai. He prefers Havertz to even Odegaard.
No, so the thing is this: the captain Odegaard had, last season when he had that ankle injury, took him out of the game for a long time. When he came back, one thing Odegaard Odegaard is a high touch player. Eze is a low touch player. Eze doesn't need to feel the ball. He's a final actions man. Odegaard needs to feel the ball. Many touches, pass, left, right, receive, third. Okay, so what Odegaard had, the best Odegaard you say had going for him is that even as high touch as it was, when he was around the D, his ball striking was good. You understand? And he went when it was a chance to shoot, he would shoot, and he was sort of quicker to play in Saka or switch the ball to the other side. But what we have now is an Odegaard that doesn't shoot well, like his ball striking is not there, and he sort of second guesses himself a lot.
His passes are very delayed
he comes
now
out
too.
of the half spaces where he should be to receive the ball. Okay, so sometimes I feel that Odegaard should be repurposed into a deep lying playmaker. Like he might find a career at the top level as a deep lying playmaker, not somebody that is right up there as an attacking midfielder. I believe that he has dipped, like his form, not just from there's maybe a biomechanical issue with him. He just doesn't move and shoot the way he's not dynamic anymore. And I think he needs time to heal, or Arteta needs to repurpose the team, change how we play. And I was enjoying Kai Havertz's stint in that right 8th position, which switches to a front 2 when we are attacking. So I think that sort of dynamic can allow Odegaard now find himself in the team again. Because right now, if there's any person, I'm one of Odegaard, unlike you, I love the guy, but I have to be honest. Right now, if you ask me who should not start in the final, I won't pick Odegaard to start the match if everybody is fit. You understand? Now, for Eze, I also believe we have the same problem. We're not platforming him the way he should play. Fine. I don't like using that word, platforming somebody, because it looks like it's an easy cop-out. But Eze is a low-touch player. Eze in Crystal Palace doesn't dwell on the ball. He gives the ball, gives and moves. He dribbles, he shoots. So in a match, you can see Eze he's a low-touch player. If you check his touches, even in Arsenal, he doesn't, and he cannot now suddenly become Odegaard. He's not Odegaard. We need to start finding Eze in the pockets where he can be dangerous. You see the Spurs game, you see where he was receiving the ball. Those are the places you need Eze to receive the ball on the turn, maybe with a defender behind him. He can quickly spin, play 1-2 central passes, and he shoots with power and accuracy. He's not Odegaard at all. He's far from it, and we should stop looking at him like he's going to replace Odegaard the way we play. And that is why he's struggling, because people are expecting him to be doing this touch, cheap pass. No, Eze should be almost like a striker. He's almost like I would like to see Eze and Havertz play a consistent, run of games. I feel he will play very well with Havertz, because he wouldn't need to be playmaking. He will just give go with him, and Havertz is fantastic with playing with. I'm not seeing if you're a player and you cannot play with Havertz, you're a poor player.
And then you have issues, man. I agree, because in the little time that he has played, you can see the impact he has made. My main issue with Odegaard right now is how deep he is. I think he needs to stop that shit. You already have Mendy, who is one of the best progressors of the ball from deep. But for some reason, Odegaard will go beyond Mendy, and he doesn't even have the agility to get up the pitch to actually make an impact.
I think that's an excuse when there's a low block. He doesn't want to just be in that position. He just wants to just free himself, to free the ball and just have those extra touches, bro. Yeah. But you see, one thing I wanted to add about Eze, I strongly believe that there is a confidence issue here. When he was when he was at Crystal Palace, after Glasner, is Eze, then Arteta and Sarr. In fact, when Olise was there, you could argue that he was even more important to the team than Olise, because Olise was more injury potent. But now in Arsenal, like, nobody they look your face, with all due respect. Like,
he was a big fish in a small pond.
He's like the new boy. He's trying to understand the system, how they want him to play, and how he would impress the manager, because in the side of his mind, oh, let me not do this much so that I will not be on the bench the next game. Like he's battling with himself. Like,
thank you. And to add to what you're saying, I feel that he doesn't demand for the ball in Arsenal.
He's so
like
he's hiding.
When he's a bit timid.
It's a confidence issue. He's hiding.
He's a bit timid, and I feel like, you know how when you find yourself in some environments that you feel like, are you worthy to be here? Like an imposter syndrome. I think he's having something like that going on with him.
Because if you see Rice raises his two hands like this.
Give it to me. I want to go.
And even if you have something better in mind, because Rice is stopping you,
he doesn't demand the ball. So that is the part of him. I really hope he plays. I would like to see him against Wenger and against Wolves, because I believe that
we're very light in midfield.
We have two of these matches for him to find his place in the team.
Yeah.
I really need him to find his place, because this guy is out. Merino is out. Kai Havertz is injured for 4 weeks. So we really need
one area
has been loaned out. So we need Eze and Odegaard to find a way to play together and hold the fort till these guys come back. Because the games are coming thick and fast. And we can't afford
choice.
We have 5 games in 20 months.
We've had about 3 or 4 games this season where we have said this is the game for Eze to find himself.
No, I mean, even against Kairat Almaty, against Kairat, Eze couldn't turn up against Kairat. I was so disappointed. Against Portsmouth,
I was 4.
Yes,
he was just fighting.
We said this is the game for him to find himself. Against Kairat, this is the game for him to find himself. I'm starting to think he can't find himself. Or maybe he needs help. Maybe
is it a Grealish situation on our hands?
No, I don't think we have a Grealish situation. Maybe on the side of the manager, yes. So 2 things. If I were to be Arteta, I would say to Eze, bro, you see this Wigan. Don't be in the pre-match talk. Just be outside. Just play anything you like. You're free to make mistakes. You're free to I won't judge you. Just
if we leave, we leave. If we lose the match, we lose.
Yeah, just play.
Don't be scared.
Don't be scared. If I just say
that. But then again, your coach is a control freak.
That's the only problem.
Yes,
he's trying to play.
There's no way Arteta will have that speech.
Just let this guy play. Let him make the mistakes. If he works, he works. If he loses the ball, he loses the ball. Now, on the side of Eze, bro, No, let me finish this point. On the side of Eze,
go on.
I beg, pursue the ball, return. Just show you're interested. That's my only problem with his body language. When he loses the ball, he's only marking the space. He's just marking the space. He's not returning. He's just so if you watch the game against Chelsea, in that game, he worked his ass off. But on the ball, so that is where he's struggling. Where do I fit in? Okay, they need me to work hard. I'm working hard. But on the ball, he's just going for the short passes. He's not creative. Your job is not the short passes.
He was playing safe.
Your job is not to play safe. Your job is to play
safe. Everybody was playing safe. And that's my issue. Eze is meant to be our
anybody that's just
the kind of guy that should shoot outside the box.
Everybody should play safe, not our number 10. Our number 10 has to
be exactly.
Because you have a free
problem is I feel Arteta is not telling him that. I think I remember that part of the issue was Eze's issue started with that Villa game, where he lost concentration. And that's it. The system Arteta plays when one person is not doing their job. I guess it's not Arteta's system. Maybe it's modern football now. Once one person is not doing their job, there are too many people on the bench studying the other team and saying, okay, that's the weak point. Oh, yeah, let's restructure and go and exploit it.
Brentford's equalizer. Brentford's equalizer, whose fault was it?
Odegaard now.
But it doesn't change anything. He's starting the next game if he was fit. So Arteta has his favorites.
Well, he always have his favorites.
No, make no mistake. No. If Kai was fit, Odegaard is not starting the next game.
I agree.
Yes. The reason Odegaard is starting the next game, even though he made the mistake, is because the option is Eze. And he knows that, yes, Odegaard might have made that mistake, but Eze would have done worse.
But Eze was subbed at halftime. How do you
I
assess his
want you to look
confidence
at it this
today?
way. That goal, I want you to think about it. If it was Eze on the pitch, would he have stopped that goal? If anything at all, it would have been easier to score.
Bro, you
So,
have
so,
been.
so the thing is
Odegaard
this:
even tried to tackle.
if you are getting,
But the ball is
let,
coming
let,
to
let,
you
let me cut
on
you.
the
If
air.
you
You're
remember the
losing,
game
you're playing
against
your
Aston
left.
Villa,
Like,
when they were shooting all those balls, Odegaard was also there when they allowed the ball to enter. If you're not good at marking, don't be in the box.
I'm not saying Odegaard had no blame. I'm saying the reason he's playing the next match is because Kai is
did you
injured.
see that Sunday? Did you see?
If Kai wasn't
You're right.
injured, Odegaard
Correct.
is not
Odegaard
playing the
might be
next
And
match.
injured
you're
too
right. Did
because
you
what I'm
see
saying.
that?
he was
And then when
limping.
you now compare it, what are the options? If Eze is the option to Odegaard and the issue is that mistake, Eze makes worse mistakes.
What?
So you can't say Odegaard has made a mistake, so turn to Eze. Until Eze stops making those mistakes, that's when. And Arteta's football, everybody must defend.
Did you see?
Is
Yeah.
Did
what
you
we
see
have
that
said.
Sunderland? Did
They
you see that
attack, they
Sunderland
defend.
game where we scored? I think we scored first, and that shot that Kai Havertz saved. that shot.
Yes.
Yeah, from Broby.
Eze will just,
Do you understand?
you know.
All right, guys.
I say
This has been
I
awesome,
mean,
man. Mm-hmm.
in one of my Arsenal group, I explained, I said, if Zubi was on form, the 3 goals by Man U would not have happened. None of those goals. The first goal was him making a mistake with his pass. The second goal was him looking to the ref instead of marking Dogu. The third goal was because he was removed and
Yeah,
Eze was brought in.
that's his position.
If
Yeah,
Zubi was on the bench, if Zubi was on the pitch, Rice would have been the one marking Cunha. The
yeah,
space Cunha ran into, Rice would have been there.
yeah.
Eze was supposed to be in that space, but Eze was way ahead. He hadn't come back. That's
Okay,
why Cunha had space to run into. That's why Gabriel had to come out. And before he could step close enough to Cunha, Cunha played that shot.
awesome,
If it was
awesome.
Rice and Zubi in that midfield, that space that Cunha had would not have had it. And the only reason he had that space was because Zubi was playing so badly that day, he had to be replaced.
Yeah,
And
that's
he
true.
replaced him with Eze.
All right,
So
guys.
when you look at it from that aspect,
So mhm.
you can't say Odegaard understands Arteta ball. Let's not.
I agree. Awesome, awesome. So I'm going to get your final thoughts. This has actually been fun. Close to 2 hours just cooking with you guys. We've spoken
Look at
at
what
length about
it
our
tells you that
thoughts
one.
on the team that won the league in 2004,
Yes.
which unfortunately has been the last Premier League title we've won. When you think of the fact that it has been for 22 years, it's kind of stunning. So right now we are currently on top of the Premier League, 12 games to go, 4 points ahead. I'd like to just get your honest thoughts on where you think we're going to end in the Premier League at the end of this season. And I'll start with you, Diego.
Why are you going to go me first?
Thank you. Thank you for not starting with me.
Like I said at some point in the conversation, I think it's easier for us to win the league. The Champions League than the
Champions
Premier
League.
League. I think we're going to end up second. I do not see us winning this league for different reasons. One, this time last year, we didn't lose any game. Did we lose any game? I think Aston Villa was a draw. We didn't lose any game to the end of the season. That's why we went on 89 points. That is the sort of form we need from now to May if we're going to win. In fact, we have to not lose a game if we have the chance of winning this league. And I think we're still going to lose a game and most likely going to draw another one. Now, again, the likes of Tino or Ade can disagree with me because we've known City this season to be very iffy and flip-flop. But with what I've watched the last 2 games, I feel like they are in the horizon. I think that they are picking up and they are in fact, with us dropping points, they are a bit more confident. Pep is known for smelling blood, and when he smells blood, he goes for the kill. So now it looks like we are more in the more panic situation because, again, don't forget, we are still going to play Chelsea. Chelsea has a point to prove. We're still going to play City at City ground. So we still have a lot of tough games to play. And I don't see this is the wrongest time to be below par in terms of form. And I don't know how we're going to remedy that. I thought that the 3-2 with United is going to be like a wake-up call. I saw that as an anomaly, and that sparked us to Kairat, and that sparked us to 4-0 leads, and then of course the 3-0 thrashing of Sunderland. But it seems like we're still a bit iffy and unstable, and I don't know for how long this is going to continue. So with that being said, I think we are not quite there. I don't know which game would kick us to form. Wolves is a little game because obviously they stopped us in the last. I think that was in the Emirates when we managed
Yeah.
to, 2-1.
Almost just almost drew that
We have
game.
a point to prove again. Like it's tough.
There's something you guys need to also factor in.
Mhm.
So I'll slightly disagree with you. I don't think City have looked fantastic. They were fantastic against Fulham, but there's just something about City that is not there. I've seen this team like go on runs, not this one I'm watching. So
Yes.
the thing is this, for Arsenal, that is why I say we need to have a fit squad. Okay, last year we're not in the run. We are not in the title contention last year. Forget that thing we're doing with Liverpool. By the day they said Kai was gone and we didn't have a striker.
Yeah, that was the end. Even getting Merino was not it, but we just managed.
But what I want you guys to look at is when the Champions League comes back, Arsenal have the advantage of playing at home the second. They will play their home the second
leg into the final.
Yeah.
Now, where those games are nested in between, like that round of to the Champions League, you play the Champions League, you go to the weekend and play Premier League, then you go to the Champions League again. I think City has theirs in between when they are playing Chelsea, and they have two very tough away games. Okay, you remember when we lost to Villa? This was when we found ourselves in the middle of Bayern Munich, Villa, Bayern Munich, and we lost the Villa match. So, who we are playing during that time matters too, and because now we are talking about points, like 4 points. 4 points could decide this title, and I think Arsenal have what it takes to go to Man City and get a result. Not win, maybe come out there with their skin intact. It's not like when the first time we contended for the title that we, went there and got smashed. I don't think this team is that team anymore. I think this team is more mature. They have experience. So if we don't pick up these cluster injuries, that is the only thing that scares me. If we have a team that is steady, we have the backline. Saliba, I don't know what happened to him. How long is he out? If Saliba
he was ill. So he was ill.
Yeah. So I think Odegaard is injured again as well.
Yeah, he got injured that time with that tackle now.
Yeah,
I watched him throughout the match. He was limping.
Yeah, but we should have subbed him now. Brought on Nogard or something. He was a liability at that point.
No, I think it was. I can't remember, but he was just trying to play through the injury.
He was limping actually.
He wasn't playing well because when he came in, he actually changed the game. Arsenal held their neck for a few, second half. For the first 15 minutes, we were on top.
Yeah.
We did this thing that we've been doing this season. We go a goal ahead, and it's sort of we sit back and become passive. And that thing needs to stop. That is a big problem.
Another problem, Tino, is our first half performances have been very, very poor. Like first half, we just vibe throughout the game.
Even when it's up, it's lukewarm. But we have very good second halves. You see this match against Brentford, this match and Old Trafford on the first day are the only two times I can tell you that Arsenal were completely outplayed. In any games this season. So I want to take it as just a bad day of the office. And then considering how we played, I think the point for me has turned out to be a point game, not 3 points dropped, because that's in an L. You see that match? L. We should lose
that Thiago Mosquera moment. I was so scared there, man.
The game. But now we can't afford to have that kind of game again. That's what I'm saying. We've survived this time. Man City will go to Leeds. Man City will still go to Brentford.
They should go to Chelsea.
Not Brentford. They are going to Iraola's team. Bournemouth. Yeah. They are going to go to Chelsea. Yeah. So are we. We have a lot of stuff.
We have Chelsea. We have Newcastle.
We are going to Brighton. But what I can appreciate from our own features that away from home, we are not going to play any team in the top 10 currently. You understand?
So, right? So you see, what happens is I think with reference to Man U and Brentford, we don't like tough games. If we manage to score one, it's easier for us to defend because that's like our go-to.
That's our identity.
Yeah, that's our go-to. We just want to just see off the game because it's a tough game and we don't want to put ourselves out there, which is a mentality thing. I don't know why.
You know why I find that tough to agree with? Leeds wasn't an easy game.
It was a tough game.
Sunderland
But see,
wasn't an easy
but
game.
we had.
No, Leeds was an easy game
Second
because we had
leg
already
Carling
scored 2
Cup.
goals in the first half. We already
No, but
scored
we
2
had-
goals.
Chelsea Carling Cup was not an easy game.
See, if you tell me,
Chelsea
that
Carling
we'll
Cup.
have
It was
Bro,
tense. It was very tense.
I didn't hear you.
Diego, if you tell me that we'll have if that Havertz will be fit till the end of the season, I'll put money that will win the league. Because when we go to those tough away matches, you need Merino, you need Havertz, you need men. You see
That's
that
the
match,
thing.
that match
That's
against
the problem.
Brentford. If we had Havertz or Merino, we get the result. Probably won't consider throwing because you need those places are for fights. The thing I can give this Arteta's team is that they do not consider any kind of game inferior. So some people look at a kind of football, say this is beneath them. Mikel doesn't consider that you pack the boss beneath him. He will do it if he needs to
I'm
do
not concerned.
it.
I'm getting my result.
Mikel doesn't have a problem with playing 5 across the back if it is what the game demands. So if we come to games like see Leeds now, they came to fight. They collected the punches. When we subdued them, they will now beat them. So I think we will have many games like against Brentford. What we need is a team that can come out and be ready to fight. Because Arsenal is not a brilliant attacking team, but we are a fantastic defensive team. We do not have any maverick up front that can get the ball and wipe it in from 50 yards and is a goal. Arsenal wins matches by being functional, by being very, very efficient,
Compact,
and by being solid defensively. So that is why it pisses me off so much when we start making defensive mistakes, because this is our own identity. We are not a brilliant attacking team. We are a brilliant defensive team.
If we did not score, if we did not score those 2 goals in the first half against Leeds, we could have drawn that game.
Yeah, but we scored.
We could have drawn that game. So imagine if we converted our set piece against Brentford, we could also have won the game as well. So like we don't play beautiful football. The football is an eyesore to watch. And then when we convert one set piece, when we
not
now
that bad, but I get what you mean.
You understand what I'm saying?
I get that, but you're
Okay,
forgetting one thing. Football is about slim margins. If Maradona didn't use his hand to score, will Argentina have gotten to the final in 86?
we're talking about from now to the end of the season, bro. Remember?
Yes, we're saying the same thing.
So there will be
about
hand
slim
of God in
margins.
every game.
For me, going back to the question, will we win the league? I think more is dependent on City than on us. And I say this: if City win the next 2 matches, they're playing Newcastle and they're going away to Leeds. If they win those 2 matches, we're in trouble.
If they get 6 points from the next 2, there's problem.
We're in trouble. Because what it means is that City is back. What it means is that City that starts the season in December has started their season now. And what that also means is that we can't drop a single point.
We can't.
Now, let's be honest. Do you see this Arsenal team as a team that won't drop any point before the end of the season?
Drop some more. I'm even scared of the Brighton away game.
So I think
if City get on form, they
we'll
can easily win the next
85 points.
An on-form City can win the next 15 matches. I hope we're all aware. I think they've done 14 before. They can.
But I don't know if this team can do it. This particular
so the injection they had in January has changed this
team.
Don't look at this
game like for them is the West Ham game. They are going to West Ham away, and Nuno is still fighting for relegation. That might be a tough one for them.
But
they have the Chelsea who wants to go for Champions League away.
They beat Castle and they beat Leeds. I don't think they will have any issues. They will be afraid of anybody else. And it will come down to 2 things.
We need to win the final.
What we do when we go to the Etihad.
Yeah.
Well, I actually don't even. I'm actually worried about what will happen to the team if they win the Carabao Cup. I'm worried that I don't want them thinking they've won the Carabao Cup, so they've won a trophy. Yeah. I'm actually worried about that.
But I think it will help them.
Yeah, if you go for the mentality against that we can beat City.
I want them to feel.
These boys we beat City last season now. They'll be the same boys beat City 5.
No, they can beat City.
But I want them to enjoy
winning a trophy together.
It's winning the league that is their mental block. It's not beating City. Last season we beat
the thing is
we beat them well, 5-1.
If you win,
arguments.
I'm not afraid of City 1-on-1, but I'm afraid of Arsenal not taking points from places where City can go and take points.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it.
For instance,
Agree.
Man City will go to Everton. Is a ground that I think we've gone to Everton.
Yeah, 1-0. We won them. Gyökeres penalty.
But you see, Man City can start going to such places and they start winning. And that is where we have a problem.
I agree.
Heck
All right,
is head
guys.
with Man City when we play them at the Etihad. I don't think we lose that match. We don't lose that game. But you see, what will happen like Chelsea? Man City will go to Chelsea. Arsenal will host Chelsea. It's very possible that Chelsea can come to Arsenal. We beat them so much. They get a result, a point. City goes there and they collapse and get hammered. So these are the things, these are the issues that we need to prevent.
So a lot of things this season is more dependent on City than on us. And
We need to get to
the main reason why is because our front line is not on form. It's not the back line. The problem is not the back line. The problem is not the midfield. The problem is the front line. Odegaard, Saka, Gyökeres, Martinelli, Trossard, Noni. None of them can you say. I mean, let's be honest. Not only can they not enter the first 11 of the league for this season, I'm not even sure they can make it into the second 11. None of them.
They are not fantastic. Trossard maybe, but he's overperformed.
So the question to ask
what we even expected from him.
Yes, the question to ask is if it was one person, if it was two people, we are talking about Saka, Noni, Gyökeres, Jesus, Martinelli, Trossard, Odegaard, Eze. That's 8 players.
Yeah,
but I think Gyökeres is finding some form.
All right, guys. So this has been awesome. I think we'll send someone. I've really enjoyed this cooking session. So we can definitely cook after the stream.
Okay.
Be cooking after the stream. But for everyone that's been on the chat, thanks for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll see you guys on the next.